and welcome back to Build Propulsion Lab at Devoxx France 2024, day 3, live from Paris. My dear longtime friend Julien Dubois is here with me. Julien, great to have you back. And thank you for coming. And Julien, you are, I'm guessing by the t-shirt, has something to do with GitHub. GitHub are doing a lot of interesting stuff in the realm of developer productivity, this Build Propulsion Lab, that are very impactful on us as developers. The obvious things will be stuff like VS Code, Copilot. So tell us what's going on.
So thank you for having me today. Very happy to meet you again and spend some time with you talking with developers, because that's what I do too. We have basically the same job at the end.
Absolutely, yep.
Well, we can talk about many subjects. At work, of course, I work for Microsoft, so I work with Github. So I'd be super happy to talk about GitHub Copilot, which is our AI pair programming help that everybody today loves to use for being more productive, code faster, code with, I would say, maybe fewer bugs, but mostly with more happiness. Like you don't end up, coding the same stuff over and over again.
Yes.
You code it once, then it learns it, and then it helps you.
There is a lot of boilerplate that AI is perfect to tackle.
Exactly.
Yep.
So and my other topic of choice, of course, is Gipster by open source project.
Right.
There's a big link. With Gipster, it's the same thing. We generate the boilerplate for you.
So JHipster, we did the Build Propulsion Lab at DevNexus last week in Atlanta. And if you didn't watch it, check it out. There are great content over there. One of them was with your colleague in JHipster, Matt Rabel.
Oh, of course, yes.
Right, so he was there, and we did an episode on JHipster. So that will be a very nice follow-up on that.
I need to watch. I did not know it, so I need to watch it. So I hope I will say the same thing as Matt. Well, there's one thing that I love to add, is that when you mix Gipster with GitHub Copilot, because on GitHub Copilot you can ask it, please generate. You can say please. I like to be polite with GitHub Copilot.
You have to be polite because if you watch Terminator, why you should be polite.
Oh yes, because it will be our next master.
Exactly,
So it says, please Copilot, generate a Spring Boot controller for me. So it will generate a very nice Spring Boot Copilot. But you can add with the style of Gipster. And it will generate it the same way as Gipster would do. Because it's trained on public data. You've got tons of Gipster projects on GitHub. So it was trained on it. So it's really good at generating Gipster code. And that's interesting because if you want let's say the perfect one, always the same one, you ask Gipster. And if you want the latest code, because GitHub Copilot was trained like 2 years ago. So if you want the new cool code, you use Gipster. But then if you want to refactor, if you want to do something a bit more complex, Gipster is not really good at like if you ask it, generate a new method for me, it can do it, but sometimes it's just adding a method in terms of a class. It's not really good at that. If you ask it to refactor some stuff, it's not really good at refactoring. AI Copilot is really smart because it will understand your code, it will understand the Gipster style, and it will add it. So in fact, you can pair them together. You can have Gipster generate, let's say, most of the boilerplate, and have Copilot add the most specific method, the business method for you. And then you, as a developer, you don't have much more to do. Just add the
you do the business
value,
logic, something that you were hired and paid money for. But it sounds to me almost like good AI, maybe your next generation, the next smarter model, will make JHipster obsolete. If it can generate everything that JHipster can generate now, why do I need JHipster?
That's two things. But first of all, you need to have the seed. What it's trained on.
Right.
And you want it to be recent, so you need somebody to code like the original good code that you want to rely on. And also, it's very limited. I mean, one of the limits of all LLMs is that it's a context window, and the number of tokens you can send. You're not going to send your whole project and all your classes and everything to the LLM. Also, the LLM to be good, like GitHub Copilot, one of the many issues I see when people use it is like they ask a very generic question. And then they have a very generic answer, and they're unhappy. You need to tell it very precisely what you want to have a good answer. It's good at having a short, precise, exact answer and giving you good exact question and having a good exact answer. It's not good at something that's generic as create a full project for me. You just won't know what to do. So they don't do the same thing, but they cooperate well, and they also cooperate well because because that's not something we prepared as Copilot is trained on GitHub data, is trained on a ton of Gipster code. So it's really good at Gipster. And that's also why you have an advantage when you are using a framework or project like Gipster, which is open source and which has a wide usage on GitHub. If you use a proprietary tool or something which is less popular, you will have less training data and it will be less good. So
I wonder if creating a custom, or what they call like a custom GPT, and there are obviously the same concepts in different models, basically with custom usage data, can you prepare a specialized model that will eventually be JHipster?
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not as specialized as this, because that's very like, you would need a model which is like only, for people doing Spring Boot on Java, and like maybe that's a bit too specific. But yeah, I mean, that's typically what Copilot is doing. Like it's GPT-4, but we have some specific training on code, so it's good at code. It's probably less good on other things. So yeah, I mean, there's a trend in LLMs to have specialized LLM for some, typically for code, for some specific data, or for some languages, like for Japanese, to have something very specific for specific usage. And then when you want something really, really specific, then that's when the RAG pattern comes. And that's basically what Copilot does. It takes your code, it takes the generic knowledge, and it merges them. And that's how you have like precise data. So it's a mix of having a specific LLM, which is not too big because it's too expensive, and because it's more precise, and you got some more context. And that context usually comes typically from your code, your files, and then you merge them together, and that's where you have the best results.
Right, but my thinking was, and maybe I'm off, maybe it's impossible, but it sounds to me that those bootstrapping frameworks, like start.spring.io and JHipster, and all those that are kind of a wizard style of what you want to do, and then it gives you like an empty project that you can start with. It sounds like it's something that can be generated almost perfectly with properly configured and trained LLMs.
Well, then you need a very big prompt, to explain it exactly what you want.
Right.
But I mean, it's different with Gipster because we generate so much stuff, Something like start.spring.io, they generate, I don't know, a few files. It's probably doable. Like we generate, I don't know, hundreds of files. I don't even know which files we. And for different technologies, we generate stuff for Docker, for Spring, for Gradle. We also generate Gradle configuration. Like you would have to tell it, please generate a Spring Boot app with Gradle and Docker and so on. And it's a very complex prompt, and you're not sure of what the output will be. Whereas, everything we generate with Egyptian, it's fully tested. By the way, so we use Velocity to use the Enterprise.
Yes.
We build everything continuously. We test everything. So the goal is that when we generate something for you, it's like perfectly
and obviously
done.
With LLMs, you don't have those guarantees. It will be like, it will be okay.
Yeah,
but
then you will generate it again, you will have something different.
Exactly.
And then you don't know what it fails. And no.
Okay.
It's I mean, for me, it's like two different tools, and the magic, it's like they all work well together. I'm saying the magic because that wasn't planned at all. First time I used GitHub Copilot, I didn't know it would be trained on Gipster data and that it would work together. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, no, this is, I guess this is like a surprising benefit, side benefit of that actually.
But it's true for all open source projects which have a lot of data on GitHub. So, like if you use Spring Boot, you have an advantage over somebody who uses a custom framework from their own company. It's not trained on that data, doesn't know about it. The generation probably will be very generic and not very good. And if you use Spring Boot, well, you have a lot of help. And by the way, the next step for this is having those LLM, trained with a higher priority on quality data. Like typically so I work for Microsoft. We have got the Microsoft Docs. Well, obviously, if you want to use Microsoft technologies, Microsoft Docs should have a higher priority than generic stuff that is on GitHub. That should be the same thing for Spring and so on. And I'm guessing because that's just the start, but I'm guessing that the more we go, the better quality we have, because those LLMs will be trained on higher quality data, not on generic data on GitHub.
And you can say like this data will take priority over like the junk that you find on Quora.
Yeah, well, and that's also the other issue we have with LLMs is that it's usually old data, so you've got a big weight on the old stuff.
Yep.
So we also need to have let's say, more weight on newer stuff from quality data. So if you take it, or let's say, no, you take it from the Github website. If it's coming from the Github official website, it's better quality than all stuff from Stack Overflow, even if it's highly voted. And that's a lot of work on the LLM side to have this kind of quality at the end.
And you have control over it in Copilot, or this is something that needs to be tackled on OpenAI and ChatGPT?
No, that's all on the Copilot side. I mean, let's say on the Microsoft side. So as a user, well, you don't know what's coming. The model can change, by the way. You have no control on it. The control you have is that you can always give it more context. You can type some stuff. You can chat with it. So you tell, oh, I'm using Spring Boot, I'm using Gradle, I'm using Java 21. Oh, by the way, if you do it now, it was trained on data which is like 2 years ago. It will not know Java 21. So that's one of the interesting points. But yeah, it's going to push you like older versions of Java. What is usually not working too well, so that's interesting, is that you ask it to generate some GitHub actions or some Docker stuff, because it will use older versions, like the older version of Java.
And since this stuff is changing very fast, it will be
it's always obsolete. It's always obsolete. So if you want code with no security vulnerability, also in Maven or Gradle, if you want the latest versions, well, Copilot here on this is not too good. That's where there is some work to first of all, you can give it more context. I'm using Java 21. You don't know about it, but if you ask it, it will, it will.
Yeah, so that was my question. It sounds like this gap between 2 years ago and today can be easily covered with browsing capabilities.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Right. So it knows the old stuff, but it can check and adapt to what's new.
Exactly. So that's two things. So that's the right pattern. Well, it will have more stuff, more new stuff that you give it, or that it takes by itself. So it will be better by this. And then also we can hope it will be trained more and more often. Like initially it was very costly to train it. Can hope, with the new NVIDIA card and everything, maybe it will be trained more often. And we don't have data which is like 2 years old, but only 2 months old. And then at some point it's okay because...
Yeah, no, of course. What you find on the internet will also be 2 months old, so it's fine.
Yeah. Except for security. Security is the only thing.
But this is you can have those things that must be up to date, and I think there is a way to always say, like in preprocessors, just say, hey, for this, always look up new stuff.
Yeah, and you so at GitHub we've got Dependabot.
Yeah,
you put Dependabot. Dependabot will tell you when something is out of date and does it for you. And then it runs with continuous integration with Gradle. And you're all done.
Speaking about Dependabot, just yesterday we announced, Gradle announced a collaboration with GitHub. Of Dependabot integration with Gradle. So the press release is out there. You should go and check it.
That's why I need to go to your show to learn what my company does.
This is how we roll. I learn what your company does. You learn what your company does, and everybody is happy.
Incredible. I'm a huge fan of Dependabot. I have Dependabot everywhere.
Yeah. So Dependabot is a very, very easy way to keep your dependencies up to date and to make sure that you don't use anything that is vulnerable. And Gradle now exports your entire dependency tree, not just what declared, but all the transitive dependencies that you actually use, your actual SBOM, to Dependabot in your GitHub project. So you will get notifications about dependencies that you need to update, not only on top-level dependencies, but transitive dependencies as well.
Oh, that's super good.
That's
super happy to. I want to use it.
Here you go. Now you can use it starting yesterday, and this is also very, very exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So here you have it, Julien. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We learned interesting stuff about a whole bunch of JHipster and VS Code and Copilot and new Gradle GitHub integration. So check out the video that we just published yesterday about it, and the blog post and everything that comes with it. And you stay tuned for more episodes. We still have we kind of winding down towards the end of this amazing conference. We still have a couple of interesting interviews. One of the surprising one, or maybe not surprising. I'll try to find the organizer of this amazing conference, Antonio Gonzalez, and bring here to chat with us, kind of to summarize Devoxx France. So stay tuned for more episodes, and we will back with you very, very shortly.